what does that mean for conventional journalism? Does that mean that conventional journalism is gone? Well, I don't think that. I think what I'm trying to suggest is that this pairing of what we do and what they do is the interesting thing. And I think there are many things that mainstream media, we probably all hate that phrase, trained journalists do, which in collaboration with others or on their own are still really important. You mentioned 6 things this morning that I was talking about last week. Here are some of my own. I think this ability to take a large audience and amplify what people are saying is what journalism gives journalism so much of its power and influence, from exposing information to the widest possible view and giving more weight to what otherwise would be fragments and fragmented views. There's going to be no argument about this point, about the importance of reporting, of quick, knowledgeable, accurate, readable, comprehensible, trustworthy reporting. All the things that journalists are trained to do, and which I still think are absolutely needed to make sense of a more complex world, and absolutely emphasize the word trust, which I think will matter even more with ease of publication, and those barriers to entry are lowered so that anybody can come in and do what they do. The importance of verification, operating to high ethical standards, of correction, clarification, all these things are going to become more important. There will always be more expert people out there, but I think they will still need us as intermediaries. You can talk about some of the examples of things like climate change and complex financial derivatives, reporting during the test or the testing field, these things that are not easily graspable or comprehensible without the skills of really knowledgeable and able journalists who can explain it. I would say aggregation. Again, it's this pulling together of these isolated, fragmented pictures. So I've described lots of things that are searchable and personalizable, which is fantastically useful. But somebody has to have the job of pulling this all together into a picture that mirrors society as large, and giving it a context, and never mind saving time. Defend. I got this from John Lloyd at the Reuters Institute in Oxford, because I once heard him talking about the solidity that a news organisation brings to the work of reporting. A news organisation standing behind a piece of reporting is a tremendously important thing. We've all seen the journalists in the audience of examples where you would be faced with pushback on a story that you're doing, whether it's from a large corporation, government, or the local council. You think of examples abroad, what's been happening in Russia, what's been happening in Italy, where you need the solidity of a large media organisation behind you in order to defend reporting. Challenging and campaigning, I think, is one of the accepted pieces of wisdom in the world today, so that we all feel powerless in our lives, utterly unable to influence the forces that control our lives. And I think that the mainstream media gives individuals the power to challenge and change things in a way that they feel they don't have through other conventional ways, including conventional politics. I could add lots of things. I could add prescribe. I don't know if any of you read Millie Jenkins' piece about what it's like living in an old people's home. Just a remarkable piece of taking the audience behind a closed world, and you just sat there and described. She sat for a week and just described what she saw. I think that is an incredibly powerful role of prioritizing. So again, we've had a lot earlier this evening about people making their own judgments about what they consider important, and that's sort of one level of the spectrum in which I think of the New York Times editorial conference. Everybody's been there. It's a bit like a religious ceremony. As they sit there and try and think which stories are worthy of being on the front page of the New York Times, and what is the exact order in which they will be prioritized. And that is the New York Times imposing its sensibility on the world and saying these are the things that we consider important. Comment, needs no comment, and sadly neither does finance. Again, we all know what we're talking about there. In Guardian terms, some of the big pieces that we've done over the last year, Ethan Babe's work on torture, David Lee's work on British aerospace, Mr. John's work on food production, work on tax avoidance. All these are very long, painstaking, and expensive pieces of work, which by and large are not going to be handled without mainstream organisation. So I think, having begun by describing these other forms of journalism, that just, I hope, just emphasises not only the role that we need to play as journalists, but for what we do. And we forget that any more than we should find ourselves to the incredible opportunities opening up to people who don't call themselves journalists to contribute their knowledge and expertise and opinions. But that final word, finance, takes me on to this final section, which is really trying to imagine the situation which I think we're all facing at the moment of standing on the precipice and trying to imagine what will happen if the finance runs out. How will that change not journalism, but how will that change the world? And I think the short answer is that without powerful these organizations, there's going to be more corruption, muddled inefficiency, but let's just stick with corruption for a while.